And the second fastest, the crew from Austria. So could this be a medal shot?
Yeah, it could well be. Here's the full lineup alongside Austria for this medal final of the PR3 mixed double sculls. The boats are there, attached to the stake boats here. Closest to you on the left-hand side of the picture, Shaylee Mizrachi for Israel, along with Saleh Shahin, USA. Pearl Outlaw stroking that boat, along with Joshua Bossino in the bows. Russia, Evgeny Borisov, closest to you. Valentina Zagot in the bows. And the medal hope for Austria, David Erkinger stroking Johanna Beyer in the bows of this boat in lane 4. Lane 5 for China. Chen Jinxin, Wang Zhizhi in the bows. And the 6th boat in this lineup for Italy. We see Gianfilippo Mirabile in the stroke seat, Mariam Afghai in the bows.
United States.
Mariam Afghai already racing in the pair earlier on in the programme.
China, Italy, attention, red light.
Saying red light because there may be a visual impairment in the crews out there, so the umpire just giving them the indication. And you picked it, Greg, a big medal hope for the Austrians here in this PR3 mixed double sculls.
And a real contrast between the power and aggression of the Russian double. The blade work doesn't look too tidy, but the boat speed is there in the Russian WC. They're the highest rating on the course, up at 40 strokes a minute. There's lots of water splashing about, but they are taking a significant lead early on from the Austrians in silver and 2nd position.
Yeah, Evgeny Borisov in the stroke of the Russian boat. Seeing their massive bulk. We've seen him in this event take a bronze medal in Plovdiv last year, the World Championships. Something you noticed, Greg?
Well, we'll get a close-up in a second, but yeah, if you look at his right hand, he sculls with a square blade because he has a prosthetic set up on his right hand, so he's just locked into that right hand scull.
Yeah, I think that does something a bit to explain the blade work slightly. He's got a square blade on the right-hand side, so he needs to lift his blades higher off the water than a feathered blade, so his hands have got to be lower in the boat, which could be a little bit disruptive in terms of that blade work. But the power is definitely there in the water. We're looking here at the crew from Israel. They're settling into their race rhythm, 35 strokes a minute.
So just a reminder that this PR3 class is for rowers who have a verifiable and permanent disability, who have functional use of their legs, trunk and arm for rowing, and can utilise the sliding seat to propel the boat. And the Russians are doing that through the 500-metre mark in 1st. Austria, their big hope for a medal, in 2nd. Israel in 3rd. Close race between the USA and China for that bronze medal position.
I mean, that was a massive lead through the 500 metres, 8 seconds for Russia. It's such a huge advantage for them. These guys in 2nd place now. It looks much smoother in this boat than in the Russian boat.
It does look smoother. The Russians got away pretty high with a high rate of striking. They've now settled down into about 30 strokes a minute, the same as the Austrians, but they have that significant lead, as we can take a look now at that right-hand scull of the stroke man in the Russian double and see that connection to the blade handle.
Yeah, that's a great shot. Our cameras are bringing us heart of the action. That right hand of the Russian stroke man, Evgeny Borisov, the 34-year-old. Just how challenging that must be, and actually how well that Borisov is doing to get so much power down.
They've gone off so hard in the 1st quarter of the race, the Russians. I'll be interested to see how well they can keep that advantage over the rest of the field. We saw them race in a test race earlier in the regatta. They finished 10 seconds ahead of this crew from Austria.
Strokeman David Erdinger from the Austrian crew, the youngster in the boat, 22 years of age. His partner, 37 years of age, Joanna Bayer. The Austrians choosing to put... Well, have all these guys got the guy in the stroke seat, the man in the stroke seat?
I think the crew from Israel were put the other way around with the female athlete in the stroke seats.
Yeah, it looks to be that way. And the USA crew, Pearl Outlaw in the stroke seat in that crew. So 4 crews with the male athlete in the stroke seat, 2 with the male athlete in the bows. We'll see them coming through the 1,000 metres. Russia's advantage has increased by a couple of seconds over Austria. They've got a 10-second advantage now. Gold and silver look pretty well sewn up, but there's a 3-boat race going on for that bronze medal.
Look at those Americans. Joshua Bossino up in the bows, female stroke for the Americans. 2, Pearl Outlaw from Charlottesville, Virginia. Josh Boschnew from Bedford, New Hampshire, alumnus of Elmira College, and Pearl Outlaw from Ithaca College in the USA. They both rowed for the Community Rowing Association in Boston, that fantastic club in Boston, which looks for rowing for all. They get a huge number of Bostonians in through the clubhouse doors. Anyone can row in any boat. They get a lot of corporate rowing. It's a real model for any clubs, and it's a centre for American para rowing.
Such a fantastic setup for them, so inclusive, bringing so much interest to the sport, potential funding as well, getting corporates involved, and they need that funding in their squad. So here we just see on the right of the picture the Austrians, and you see the gap back to the left, but here the race leaders, 31 strokes a minute for this Russian duo of Evgeny Borisov, Valentina Zagot. They had a really, really confident start, and they've held the lead the whole way down the course. The shot's quite deceptive, actually. It looks to be closer than it is from that camera angle, but here we can see that huge margin the Russians have. Greg?
Yeah, absolutely right. We get the picture here coming up towards the 1,500 metre where we'll look across the course. And as you say, the Russian crew made a great start. They took all the distance in that first 500. Then they've settled their rate down, settled into a steady pace, about 32 strokes a minute. The Russian crew clearly out in front, but the Austrians, are they going to get their first medal of this championships? It looks like they will, unless something goes wrong in the next 500. They look like they're nailed on for the silver. And who's going to get this bronze? It's looking pretty tight, and it could still go either way, I think, between this crew from China in front of us, and at the moment the Americans have about a length.
Yeah, it's looking good for the Americans, just ahead of China, but China is still in touch there. That's the crew from Israel going across 1,500 metres now, and we're back at the front of the race, which is coming towards the closing stages here and in sight of our commentary position.
I have to say that Valentina Zagot is doing all you want of a bow woman. She's absolutely keeping pace with the massive bulk of Evgeny Borisov in the stroke seat, and beautifully relaxed and fluid, Kat.
Yeah, I think she does a lot to stabilise this boat with that prosthetic hand in the stroke seat and the square blade that Evgeny Borisov has to use. It's up to Valentina in the bows to stabilise this boat, keeping it level, keeping it flowing on, and that drone shot gives you an idea of the space around this Russian boat. They're rowing their own rhythm, still at 31 strokes a minute, well into the red buoys now, and in sight of the fans who will be cheering them home.
You can hear the cheers in the grandstand. The Austrians love the fact that they are in silver medal position. Large number of Austrians have turned up. You can hear the cheers, the claps, the whistles, the cries. They are for the Austrians. The Russians will take it as cheering for them, no doubt. They'll soak up the applause as they go through to the line. Camera will pull back and show us the Russians crossing the line. Zagot and Borisov take the gold medal in this PR3 mixed double sculls. And the announcer Peter O'Halloran really bigging up the crowd, and you can see the effect he's having, because the Austrians coming up to a raucous reception take the silver medal, and that race for the bronze medal will be won by the USA, Boissonneau and Outlaw, just coming up to the finish line ahead of the Chinese, who will take 4th place. Israel in 5th. I guess the Italians got about 100 metres to go to the line. Afghi and Mirabali will be in 6th place.
So medal for Austria, 2nd place, Bayern Erkinger. Medal for the host nation at this 2019 World Champs. And the bronze medalist for United States of America, another medal for the USA. But no one could catch the pace of these two. Evgeny Borisov, Valentina Zagot.
This is where they did all their work, wasn't it? In this first 500, the Austrians got away well. They could not keep pace with the really fast starting Russian double. So much strength and power going down in the Russian boat. Here we see them. They made a good start. They got a good lead. They got it up to about 38 strokes a minute. You see a really close-up picture of that prosthetic grip. Sculling square blade, really quite a difficult technical activity to do that the whole way down the course.
Yeah, it's so interesting to see that actually, how that mechanism works to attach the blade handle.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely fascinating. Show what you can do. You know, making the most of his abilities with that prosthetic device there, as do so many of these para-athletes. Austria in line for that silver medal, Bayern Erkinger. Just a note on the socks, guys, I got a little tweet from Christopher Anton, the umpire, who says socks don't have to be exactly identical these days. They can have individual sponsors' marks on them, which can vary between members of the crew and each leg. Very
fantastic.
Yeah.
So there's that small opportunity for a bit of self-expression in the socks there.
Absolutely. We love it.
Absolutely love it. Austrians happy with that silver medal position. And there they are, Bayern Erkinger from Austria take the silver, but it's Zagot and Borisov from Russia with a gold medal ahead of Austria. USA take the bronze. China, Israel and Italy